As we learned in the previous video, figured bass symbols were used in the Baroque and early classical periods to indicate the notes above a bass note that were to be used to complete a given chord. In this video, we will learn the figures associated with first inversion triads. A first inversion triad is a triad where the third of the chord is the lowest voice. In its simplest form, we can spell the notes as a stacked three-note chord with the notes as close together as possible. For example, here is a simple spelling of a root position C major triad. If we move the C up an octave, we now have the third of the chord as the lowest note, and it is therefore in first inversion. The chord symbol is written as C for the notes of the chord, with a slash and E on the right side of the slash for the lowest note. Figured bass symbols indicate the intervals above the lowest note that are needed to complete the chord. From E to C is a sixth, and E to G is a third. Therefore, the figure for the first inversion triad is 6-3. This is most often in shorthand as just 6. Here is an example in the key of G with C in the bass and a 6 for the figure. The 6 indicates that this is a first inversion triad. Knowing that the third of the chord is in the bass, the first thing to determine is the root of the chord. If we go down by a third, just the space below C, we will find that A is the root. In the key of G, A is the 2 chord and is minor. The chord symbol is A minor / C. The Roman numeral analysis is 2-6. Another way to find the notes of this chord is to use the intervals indicated by the figure. Again, 6 is shorthand for 6-3. If we go a sixth above C, we have A, and a third above C is E. If we reorder these notes as thirds, an easy way to do this is to find where all the notes can be on lines or spaces. We find that A, C, E gives us all thirds, and is therefore the root position spelling for this chord. A, C, E spells the A minor triad, so this is A minor in first inversion. Here is another example. We have a G note in the key of A flat major with a 6 figure. If we go down a third from G, just the next line down, we find that E flat is the root. Therefore, this is an E flat / G chord that is analyzed as 5-6 for a 5 in first inversion. Occasionally, the sixth or third interval above the bass will need to be altered with an accidental. If the third above the bass is altered, there will be an accidental below the sixth referring to the note a third above the lowest note. Here we have C in the bass and a 6 flat figure. For this type of figure, it is often easier to determine the chord by using the intervals indicated by the figure to discover the notes of the chord. A 6 above C in the key signature is A, and a third above C is E, but we need to add a flat to the E. If we take these notes and stack them in thirds, we will see that the notes are A, C, and E flat. This is an A diminished chord in first inversion. Any accidental can be used below the 6 to indicate that alteration from what it is in the key signature. The 6 above the bass can be altered as well. Common figures for altering the 6 are any accidental preceding the 6. Also, a common figure for raising the note a 6 above the lowest note is a slash through the 6. Here we have an A in the bass in the key of G minor, with a 6 with a slash through it as the figure. This means to raise the interval of a 6 above the bass by a half step. Using the intervals implied by the figure, we have F as a sixth above A, and the slash indicated to raise that note by a half step makes it F sharp. We also have an implied third above the lowest note, giving us C. If we reorder the notes in thirds, we have F sharp, A, and C, making this an F sharp diminished chord in first inversion. Let's summarize. Figure bass symbols are used to indicate intervals and their alterations above a given bass note. These figures indicate the chords that are used. A first inversion triad is generally indicated in shorthand with 6 below the bass note. The longhand indication for a first inversion triad is 6-3, indicating the intervals used from that key above the bass note. An accidental used by itself below the 6 indicates that the accidental will be added to the note a third above the bass. An accidental preceding the 6 indicates that alteration to the note a sixth above the bass. A slash through the 6 indicates that the 6 above the bass is to be raised by 1/2 step.